Well, the government is setting aside £250 million so that councils in England can restore their weekly bin collections, while local councils are facing severe cuts to their budgets. Is this the best use of public money? Joining us now from central London, Darren Johnson, a Green Party member on the London Assembly and indeed a Lewisham councillor, and Emma Boon, campaigns director at the Taxpayers Alliance. A very good afternoon to both of you. Emma, if I can start with you, is this a good use of taxpayers' money?
Well, obviously we're disappointed that Eric Pickles has had to stump up 250 million quid to get councils to bring back weekly collections. I think it's something that's a really important service to a lot of taxpayers, which is why we've seen this has been such a big issue. And the reason that he's had to get this money out of his pocket is because of meddling EU directives and landfill taxes and landfill targets that have driven up the cost, which is why councils say, lots of them say, they can't afford to provide a weekly collection anymore. So what Eric Pickles is doing here is saying, OK, here's some money, now you don't have any excuse not to do it, because this is what a lot of taxpayers do want.
Yeah, I suppose that is undeniable, Darren Johnson, to some point. If the opinion polls are to be believed, this will be a change which will be popular with people who reported that the fortnightly collections left them with some conditions which are probably best described as pretty squalid.
Well, it's a bit rich that Eric Pickles has slashed over £3 billion from local authority funding and is now trying to bribe them with this £250 million bribe, given how much their budgets have been squeezed. But in many parts of the country, fortnightly collections for ordinary rubbish can work well as long as there are weekly food collections. Now, you do need weekly food collections, the stuff that rots and so on. And then that can be composted, it can produce green energy, it's good in terms of recycling, in terms of emissions, in terms of the environment, and it's a cost-effective solution. It's going to be hugely expensive to bring back weekly rubbish collections, and actually we'd be better off putting the money into improving food waste collections, into improving recycling.
Yeah, Friends of the Earth, actually, Emma, say weekly collections ultimately mean we all recycle less.
With weekly collections, there is a tendency just to put everything in the ordinary rubbish. The fortnightly collection does start to make people think. If they have the food waste collection, then they can start separating the food waste, putting that in the food waste collection, and then really thinking about what goes in the normal rubbish bin. And it has some of the best councils for recycling are ones that are doing a weekly recycling collection, a weekly food waste collection, but a fortnightly collection for the remaining rubbish, and that works well in many councils.
Emma Boon, you were keen to make a point.
I don't think that fortnightly collections should be foisted on people and that recycling should be forced on people in this way. I think it's about giving people the opportunity to recycle if they want to do it, and encouraging people to recycle and making it easy to recycle. Let's not pretend here that councils brought in fortnightly bin collections because they had this great idea that they wanted to get everyone recycling, because they've got no interest in doing that. The only reason that they've got to get everyone recycling is because of these EU targets and taxes on landfill, and because of that meddling from the EU, councils had to start looking at ways they could do this. Now, I think that giving people the choice to recycle is a good thing, but forcing it on them with sort of draconian fortnightly bin collections is not the way to do it. If you have a large family, if you're a bigger household and you don't, say you live in a flat, for example, where are you going to store all this waste? And people have had lots of problems with it. This has been a major issue, and it just goes to show that every time the topic comes up, it hits the headlines, because this is a service that taxpayers really do care about. For a lot of people who pay their council tax, if they don't have school-aged children, if they don't use any other local services, bins is the core local service that they use, one of the only things they're getting from their council tax.
People will agree it's important, but Darren Johnson, do you think it's a bit of rhetorical hyperbole on Eric Pickles' part when he says that actually weekly rubbish collections amount to a human right?
Well, we do have a right to get our waste disposed of, but he's saying you've got an inalienable right to put your chicken tikka masala in the bin and get it collected once a week. Well, I believe you have an inalienable right to put your chicken tikka masala in the food waste bin and get it collected once a week. It's better to separate it. It makes more environmental sense. It's not just about EU directives. This is about doing what's best for the environment, doing what people actually want to see recycling improve, to see recycling facilities improve. And if councils are forced to put the money into the weekly refuse collection, it means the money's not available for the food waste collections and the recycling facilities that we really need.
OK, Darren Johnson, Emma Boon, thanks both very much. Take part, if you like, in our vote online. Do you really need a weekly bin collection? Opposing views, and strong ones at times. Have your say at skynews.com.